This is the Orioles Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This one hurts. This was a golden opportunity here on this Sunday. Quick series finale against the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Baltimore Orioles snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. Baltimore loses 7-6 on this Sunday afternoon. I want to say thank you for joining me. My name is Luke Slabaugh. I'm the post-game show host all season long, filling in the gaps between the games and Connor's show every day. Connor Newcomb will be here with a Monday reaction and a recap of the weekend's events. Truncated 2-game series due to the rainout on Friday, and a lot riding on this one for Baltimore. Chance to earn your first series win of the year, chance to string together back-to-back wins, and all in all, ride some momentum heading into the off day. Team was well rested, licking its wounds from early injuries this season. However, the offense did its part, and still, the team comes up a run short in 10 innings. Started out positive enough. In fact, Brandon Hyde, the manager, going with the same lineup in back-to-back games, was checking social media, seemed pretty enthused. Orioles fans seemed to be pleasantly surprised. And this lineup rewarded Baltimore by scoring a run in each of the first 4 innings, manufacturing opportunities against right-hander Jose Barrios. This probably should be the lineup. As a team that entered this game center of the pack in runs scored in the league, bottom third in run differential, we found out why in the 8th inning.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It would be what we're talking about. I see D. Thoring in the comment section here on YouTube says no words. And I would agree with that. Gonna have some long pauses in this one, no doubt. 7-6 final score. We go to the top of the 8th. Orioles up 6-3. And left-hander Gregory Soto, who has been nails so far this season, comes in quickly. A leadoff double to Andres Gimenez, and then an RBI double by Alejandro Kirk makes it a 6-4 game. Ernie Clement with a single, a weak throw from Gunnar, then Miles Straw with the sacrifice bunt to put 2 runners in scoring position, just 1 out in the inning. Davis Schneider hits a ground ball to Jackson Holiday, makes it a 6-5 ball game with a run scores, and then Yennier Cano finally relieves Soto of his labor. Cano comes in, faces Toronto's, if not their number 1 star, probably their second best hitter, Bo Bichette. He singles, Clement scores, and it's a 6-6 ball game. All 3 runs credited to Gregory Soto, acquired at last year's trade deadline from the Philadelphia Phillies. And from that point, you knew that even with the off day tomorrow, the Orioles were working with a shortened bullpen. Felix Bautista is still not cleared to pitch in back-to-back games, although it would be questionable what his efficacy would be. Getting into some trouble yesterday in the save opportunity against Toronto in that win. So they call on right-hander Matt Bowman to try to stuff the Blue Jays, rather, in the top of the 10th.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
You can't really knock Bowman or blame him on this one. Didn't break camp with the team. Bounced around the league quite a bit. And again, in low leverage spots, he, along with the rest of this Baltimore bullpen, did okay. But today, probably asking him to do too much. Andres Gimenez is the ghost runner on second base in the top of the 10th. Gary Sanchez filling in at catcher after Adley Rutschman was lifted for a pinch runner in the 9th, Jorge Mateo, who did not score. So he gets Tyler Heineman to pop out to Jordan Westburg in foul territory. Then Ernie Clement with a single to left. Ramon Laureano, who's been a standout defender his entire career, gets the respect, and Jimenez stops at third base. So you got runners on the corners. Then Miles Straw at the plate. Just a tapper to Westberg. There was no clear-cut play. Straw legs it out, being the speedster that he is. Jimenez scores. It's a 7-6 ball game. Allen Roden and Bichette make the final 2 outs, which means that the Orioles are left with one last chance. Jordan Westberg is the ghost runner. Mullins moves him over on a grounder to second base. Then Tyler O'Neill strikes out on a high fastball, going power against Jeff Hoffman, who could have been an Orioles reliever, failed his physical apparently with this club and with the Atlanta Braves. So O'Neill goes down swinging on the high heat, and then Laureano, granted the bench options were limited. You had Ramon Urias, probably the only hitter left on the bench. Laureano takes a slider down the middle for a called strike 3, which is an anticlimactic and deflating end to what started out as a really promising start to the homestand. Noah checking in the YouTube comments. I want to thank you again for watching and listening live on YouTube. And of course, anywhere you get your free podcasts on the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Luke. We're doing the post-game show here. Noah says we need to learn how to score a runner on third with less than 2 outs. RISP, runners in scoring position, a common issue for this team. Anyone want to guess what the number was today? It was an 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Quest Tech posits what I just said. Laureano should stay in the dugout during his at-bat. John Poffenbarg says this team is painful to watch right now. But there were so many signs of life, and this rundown had many life forms, just like yesterday's did, before yesterday's comeback win. And I wanted to talk this whole first block about how Gunnar Henderson was igniting this offense. Leadoff single, finally getting the ball in some green grass and not into an infielder's glove. Hits at 106 off the bat, scores on a wild pitch in that first inning. Then bottom of the third, leadoff triple over Anthony Santander's head, and then beats out a throw from Andres Jimenez at the plate on a fielder's choice with Adley Rutschman at the plate. I really loved the all-access part of the Masson broadcast. Rob Long is in the dugout. Really good job grabbing Gunnar Henderson. First off, he said he was glad to get that ball in the air. He'd been pounding all these balls into the ground. Who cares if they're 110 miles an hour off the bat? If they're right at someone, doesn't make a whole lot of a difference now, does it? Cares about expected batting average if the ball is going right at people. And he said, with all due respect to Andres Jimenez, he had seen him make that play before in the hole from second base to home plate. And honestly, if that throw is on the third base side or down the line, there's a good chance that Alejandro Kirk could slap a tag on Gunnar. But he scored, made it a 3-2 ball game. Point of the leadoff hitter is to score runs. And as Gunnar goes, so has the offense gone. And again, defeat out of the jaws of victory because top of the order, and particularly Gunnar Henderson, did his job. It was also about time the O's made use of that left field wall. Ryan Mountcastle, second inning, 2 outs, 1-2 count. Gets a slur of low from Jose Barrios. First O's homer to that part of the ballpark. And Ryan Mountcastle probably benefits the most out of the moved-in new wall there at Camden Yards. Had 11 home runs taken away from him over the past 3 years at Camden. Gave the O's a 2-1 lead at the time. And if we want to give one more shout out, Orioles defense early on in this game had some heads-up plays. In particular, top of the fourth, which was probably Cade Povich's most efficient inning, 11 pitches. A really good rundown play. Andres Jimenez caught on a grounder to Jordan Westberg. A nice 5-2-5 rundown, which helped Povich get out of the inning unscathed. Tyler O'Neill also hitting a home run. Change up to left field, leading off the bottom of the fourth. Made it a 4-2 ball game. And of course, the Orioles taking advantage of some bad defense. Bottom of the sixth, Heston Kjerstad led off with a double. Mountie reaches on an E6. And Jackson Holiday hits one kind of off the heel of Vladimir Guerrero's glove hand. 2 runs come in to score and then made it a 6-3 ball game from which it was all downhill from there. Jackson Holiday made a really nice flip play on a charging ground ball, circled it like you would want an infielder to do on a ground ball, and then glove flipped it to Ryan Mountcastle. It was good to see Brian Roberts on the broadcast, longtime Orioles infielder, second baseman in particular. He, of course, had worked with Jackson down there in Sarasota on that play in particular. We must protect Jackson Holiday at all costs. He's probably a guy who can make it work in the middle infield the next 5, 6, 7 years. Who's going to uproot him? Coming up, I don't have a whole lot more to say, but we're going to talk about Brandon Hyde's ejection. I'm in favor of it. I think it was prudent at the time. Got to see Robinson Chirinos make some calls as the interim manager for today. And we'll wrap things up. Talk about Cade Povich and his outing, and that's all going to come up after this break. But first, going to give a shout out to Wonderful Pistachios. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and it is a good source of protein. Wonderful Pistachios. It's one of the highest protein nuts in the world. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, gives you over 10% of your daily value. They're also packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you feel fuller for longer. Personally, it's all about the no shells. They tell us to be shells agnostic. Well, I'm not gonna. After today, I don't have the energy to get through shells. And neither should you. Tomorrow is tax day. You know what's going to get me through it? Wonderful Pistachios. Get snacking and cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. We have one more sponsor today, and it's Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and you wonder, where'd all that go? Between dining out, shopping, entertainment, sometimes it just disappears. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. Personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. We've got a million budgeting apps, and Monarch Money says we ain't that. Complete financial command center, can track everything, accounts, investments, the whole shebang. So stop managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, just put it all in one. Monarch Money says that it is the answer. So you can take control of your finances with Monarch Money. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Question: what happened to Gregory Soto today? Not entirely sure. John Poffenbarger again checking in, says the most demoralizing loss of the year. Will we ever win a series? Well, it's a matter of when and not if, and this would have been the most opportune time for a team that proved that it still had the fire in its belly yesterday to come back down. Only their second comeback win of the season, both over Toronto. Today would have been a great way to make a statement, even in extra innings, with the bullpen woes front and center. Leah Smith is talking about what I'm going to talk about next. It was fun to see Brandon Hyde show emotion, though, not going to lie. Some of us might have been wondering where that was through the first 14 games. Leon asks, we can still win this series in July, I guess? Well, the math is mathin'. Technically, this series is not lost. It's currently just in limbo, as the makeup game will be July 29th as part of the split admission doubleheader, 12:35 and 6:35. But Leah Smith raises a good point on YouTube right now. Manager Brandon Hyde's ejection, his first of the year. It came at the right time. Home plate umpire John Bacon was burning the bacon and was feeling himself quite a bit. Quite a head of hair he's got, too, underneath that mask. But calling balls low and inside, particularly the Jordan Westberg, top of the first, got him looking low and inside. And just the one occasion, you get it. Bottom of the third, there's one out. Ryan O'Hearn's on first base. Again, you get the strike call looking low and inside on a 3-2 pitch. And if you are able to read lips even half decently, and you heard or saw what Brandon Hyde said, it is the magic word. They tell umpires that the magic word is you, but if you use a 4-letter word in advance of that, yeah, you're hitting the showers early. And then John Bacon literally said boom, as if to say, yeah, you ticked me off too much. You're gone. Robinson Chirinos makes his debut as the manager, albeit on an interim basis. And here's why I think it was a good call for Brandon Hyde to make a statement and go out and argue balls and strikes first. Currently, they're ahead 3-2 in that ball game. The momentum is on your side. The fans are on your side. The energy is palpable. You needed some fire. Even if you don't get out of that inning with more runs scored, if you don't put any more across the plate in that inning, you still have all that momentum riding on you. And Westberg, to be honest, has looked befuddled at the plate both games in this series. And it's even dating back to Arizona series, but yesterday in particular, he looked silly twice on splitters low in consecutive at bats. Was able to make up for it with an infield single later in that game, but Bowden Francis had him on a string. So I think this was a good call to show that you were in Jordan's corner, and it was a good call for the fans and for those of us who are antsy and restless that there was life still yet in this team. Cade Povich took a step forward. It's not going to look like it in the box score. And in fact, going into this game, his ERA, I think, was 3.68 or 3.84, something like that. And for the life of me, I was thinking, how? Because he got slapped around quite a bit in Kansas City. And what happened was the official score went back. Remember how Jorge Mateo completely missed that fly ball off the bat of Bobby Witt Jr. and a bunch of runs scored? And Witt originally was credited with the triple. Well, they went back and rightfully so changed that to an error because that is a 99% expected catch rate. So that's why Povich's ERA was respectable in the mid threes. And early on, it looked like more of the same. He struggled to put away people despite being handed the lead multiple times. And we've talked about this. Lack of a put away inning signals to the pitcher not being comfortable in high leverage spots. It's a maturity thing. It's also a reps thing. Baseball is a game of repetition. And Povich at 24, he ain't got him yet. So this is a learning process, not the time to be considered a middle of the rotation starter for a alleged playoff contender. And it comes down to his location on 2-strike pitches. Second inning, it was a home run to Alejandro Kirk, low curveball at 79. And then also in the top of the third, you're leading 2-1. You give up 3 straight singles. But the fourth was probably Povich's best inning. Despite giving up that leadoff single to Andres Jimenez, then Jimenez stealing his 5th bag of the year, he ended up getting a couple of groundouts, including that rundown down the third base to home plate line, and got Miles Straw to fly out to Tyler O'Neill to finish the inning with only 11 pitches. Final line out of Povich, 4 2/3, 2 earned runs, 7 hits, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and that aforementioned home run to Kirk. 76 pitches and 48 strikes. What this tells me is that the O's are not yet comfortable giving him a leash or giving him an extended workload. They need length out of him. It's April, but these things can fall pretty fast. As we hear from J. Lou right now on YouTube, he comments, how do we stop this slippery slope? If I had the answer, they'd be paying me a whole lot of money. We get something from Bruce Mihalik. I'm sorry if I butcher these names on YouTube. He comments, the O's need pitching, starters, and relievers. Correct. How does Hoffman pass the physical with the Jays but not the O's and the Braves? If they don't improve their pitching, they are a 500 team. And the analytics will prove that to be so. Despite being middle of the pack in Major League Baseball and runs scored, sometimes they do it to themselves. Sir Anthony Dominguez was a bright spot out of the bullpen. took over for Keegan Aiken in the 6th. Aiken had already given up a single to Miles Straw. RBI single made it 4-3. And Dominguez did really well. Struck out Bo Bichette, challenged him on a high four-seam fastball, and then a 1-2-3 7th inning. This was definitely not on Sir Anthony. And again, we've seen some bright spots out of the bullpen. Brian Baker coming in and striking out George Springer. Unfortunately, Springer was hurt mid-at-bat and continued to play anyway. Hurt his left wrist, but he already took an injury timeout in the middle of that at-bat. And in what at the time was Toronto's highest leverage spot of the game, it seemed kind of foolish to have someone swinging up there with one arm. And Springer has had such a hot start to the year, best batting average in baseball. You don't want to see it go down that way. You want to win and you want to go best against best, but not against someone who's injured. You hope he heals up fast and fully. So tomorrow is tax day, and this is a deflating one. This is a sad one to go out on. And the O's have the day off. When we reconvene, it'll be Tuesday night. Looks like a national broadcast on TBS. Don't know who the broadcast crew is yet. But it's a 7:05 first pitch. Lefty Logan Allen going up for the incoming, visiting Cleveland Guardians, and Charlie Morton. It's do or die, man. 41-year-old right-hander coming up soon. So that'll be it for the Orioles postcast. I want to say thank you for tuning in on this Sunday evening. You could be anywhere, could be doing anything. And I know the last thing you want to do after a loss like this is to commiserate. But that's what family therapy is for. Thank you for watching on YouTube Live and listening on the Locked On Podcast Network. This was the Orioles postcast. I'm Luke Slayball. Connor Newcomb will be here on Monday with the review show. Final score, the Toronto Blue Jays 7, the Baltimore Orioles 6. Have a good night.